The ivory seal was missing from a linen cart that had no reason to be near the Vale family vault. Elena Cruz saw the gap before anyone else did. She knew every cart, every shift, and every hand allowed to touch the private floors of the Vale Grand. But when she tried to warn Damien Vale during his glittering charity gala, he looked past her burgundy uniform and called her concern a housekeeping mistake. By sunrise, his fiancée would ask the family board to sign away control of the trust that kept his empire alive. And the only person who could prove how she had done it was the woman Damien had never thought important enough to hear. Elena could take the better job waiting across town, or she could return to the hotel, place one missing seal on a table full of powerful people, and force Damien to learn what respect had cost her. At 11:48, Elena Cruz found the empty loop before she found the missing seal. The linen cage beneath the Vale Grand Ballroom smelled of steam, starch, and the expensive roses drifting down from the charity gala above. 5 carts stood in their assigned lanes. Each carried fresh tablecloths, banquet napkins, and sealed bundles for the private suites. Elena had trained herself to see the room in patterns: blue tags for public floors, gold tags for executive guests, ivory seals for the old service elevator leading to the Vale family level. There should have been 6 ivory seals on the midnight manifest. There were 5. She touched the blank space beside cart 4 with the tip of her finger. The paper had been initialed by Nora Bell, a night runner who had worked for Elena for 3 years. But Nora always curled the last stroke of her N upward. This signature fell flat. Elena, Nora appeared at the cage door, breathless and pale. "I thought you were upstairs," Elena said. "I was told to take a break. By whom?" Nora looked toward the ceiling, as if the answer might be hanging above them with the crystal lights. "A woman from the gala team," she said. Mr. Vale wanted the carts moved early. Elena's eyes returned to cart 4. The wheels were still warm. The ivory-sealed bundle on top had been opened, then resealed with a clean strip of tape. It was not a mistake a new runner would make. It was the kind of mistake made by someone who believed nobody in linen would look closely enough to matter. "Stay here," Elena said. Nora caught her sleeve. "Is this going to get me fired?" "No." Elena softened her voice. "Not if I can help it." She lifted the manifest and walked quickly toward the service elevator. For 12 years, she had learned which doors in the Vale Grand opened with a smile, and which opened only after someone decided she was too ordinary to be dangerous. The family level was one of the second kind. It contained private offices, a climate-controlled archive, and a secured room staff called the Vault because no one was foolish enough to call it anything else. Elena did not have access to the Vault. She did have access to the hallway outside it, because fresh linens were changed there every night after the family finished using the adjoining lounge. She pressed the elevator button. Nothing happened. The small light above the panel blinked once, then went dark. A man in a black suit stepped from the stairwell. "Private floor is closed," he said. Elena recognized Marcus, one of Damien Vale's senior guards. Cart 4 went up early. It was cleared. "By who?" Marcus's expression barely changed. "Miss Hart's event office." Elena held up the manifest. Then Miss Hart's office used Nora Bell's name without her permission, removed an ivory seal, and sent a cart through a restricted elevator. Marcus looked at the page. For 1 second she saw uncertainty. Then his earpiece crackled. He listened, nodded once, and said, "Mr. Vale says the gala comes first." Of course it did. Damien had spent months making that evening look effortless. He did not see the people who made effortless possible. Elena looked at Marcus. "This is not about a tablecloth. I didn't say it was. You acted like it was." Marcus held the elevator door shut with one hand. "You can speak to Mr. Vale after the program." She could go back downstairs. She could finish the count, correct the damage, and keep the hotel moving as she had done 100 times before. Instead, she tucked the manifest into her burgundy jacket and took the public elevator to the ballroom. The doors opened on music, applause, and white light. Every chair was filled. At the center of the room, Damien Vale stood beside Vivian Hart beneath a wall of projected photographs from the Foundation's Children's Hospital campaign. Damien wore a black tuxedo that fit him like a decision. Vivian wore silver silk and a smile that never reached her eyes. Elena had watched people become careful around Damien. She had watched them lower their voices, revise their sentences, and wait for him to decide whether they belonged in the room. Tonight, she refused to wait. She crossed the edge of the ballroom until she reached the stage steps. Vivienne saw her first. Her smile sharpened. "Is there a problem with the linens, Elena?" The microphone carried her voice farther than it needed to go. Several guests turned. Damien followed their eyes. His face did not harden. That hurt more. It simply closed. "Elena," he said quietly, "this is not the time. It is about the restricted elevator, she said. I need 1 minute. Vivienne gave a small, amused laugh. Surely the hotel can survive one imperfect cart. Elena kept her eyes on Damien. Cart 4 was sent to the family level with a forged runner signature and a missing ivory seal. The room changed by a fraction. Not silence. Not yet. Just the quiet awareness of people realizing the woman near the stage had said something they were not supposed to hear. Damien glanced at Vivienne, then back at Elena. You are interrupting a foundation event over a housekeeping discrepancy. The sentence was calm. That was why it landed so cleanly. Elena felt every old dismissal inside it. She could have raised her voice. She could have let anger make her look exactly as small as they expected. Instead, she held up the manifest. This document shows someone used the linen route to reach a protected floor. Damien's jaw tightened. Give it to Marcus. No. The word came out steady. Vivienne's smile vanished. Damien looked at Elena as if he had not heard correctly. No, no, sir. She let the title remain, but not the surrender that usually followed it. Because if this is a mistake, it needs to be checked now. And if it is not a mistake, someone is counting on the fact that you will send me away before I finish speaking. A donor near the front shifted in his chair. Vivienne stepped closer to Damien. Darling, this is embarrassing. Elena noticed something then. A thin strip of ivory paper clung to the underside of Vivienne's silver evening bag. It was too small for anyone else to see, too ordinary for anyone else to notice. But Elena knew the exact cut of every seal issued for the family level. Her pulse slowed. She had not come upstairs with proof. She had come upstairs with a missing space. Now she had a question that could not be dismissed. Mr. Vale, Elena said, her gaze never leaving Vivienne's bag. Ask your fiancée where she got that ivory strip. For the first time that night, Damien did not answer immediately. Where did you get that? Damien's voice was low enough that only the people nearest the stage could hear it. Vivienne looked down at her evening bag. Her fingers closed over the ivory strip. Then she laughed. A packaging scrap? It is not packaging, Elena said. Vivienne turned toward her with practiced concern. Mr. Vale, I think your employee is overtired. Damien did not look away from Elena. Instead, he asked, what does it mean? The room waited. It means a restricted cart was opened, Elena said. It means someone used an ivory route without recording the handoff. And it means the person who did it understood enough about our system to hide inside it. Our system? Vivienne repeated. The hotel system, Elena said. The one your gala depends on. Damien lifted one hand. The string quartet stopped. Marcus, lock the family level. No one enters or leaves until I say so. Vivienne's expression changed. Not fear, calculation. Damien, that is absurd. It is precaution. He looked at Elena. You have 15 minutes. Show Marcus what you found. Then she saw Nora standing near the ballroom door, twisting both hands together. If Elena walked away, the forged signature would remain on a record that could ruin a woman who had done nothing wrong. Fine, Elena said. But Nora Bell does not lose her job over this. Damien's brows drew together. Was she involved? No. Then she has nothing to worry about. That is not how blame works in this building. Damien's face went still. Vivienne's mouth curved. You see, she said. She is making this personal. Elena stepped closer to the stage. It became personal when someone borrowed a working woman's name because they expected nobody important would ask who paid for the damage. Damien's gaze held hers. Marcus, he said, Nora Bell remains on payroll. No discipline, no questions from anyone but Elena. Elena nodded once. It was not enough, but it was an answer. Marcus escorted her toward the staff elevators. Damien followed. Vivienne followed too. Elena stopped before the elevator doors. No, Vivienne blinked. No? You are not coming upstairs. This concerns a route your event office cleared. You can wait here. Vivienne looked at Damien as if he would correct the insolence for her. Damien's jaw flexed. Then he said, Vivienne stays downstairs. For the first time, the silver smile did not return. Damien, we are supposed to be partners. We are, he replied. Then let me handle this. No, Elena will. The elevator opened with a soft bell. Elena stepped inside. Damien and Marcus joined her. The doors closed on Vivienne's expression. No one spoke as the elevator rose. Elena held a paper manifest that had suddenly become more dangerous than a weapon. At the family level, the doors to the archive hall stood sealed. Marcus checked the electronic lock. No breach, he said. Of course not, Elena replied. Damien glanced at her. You expected this? I expected someone clever enough to use our route would be clever enough not to touch a door they could not explain. She walked to the laundry alcove at the end of the corridor. A metal rack held the clean bundles meant for the family lounge. 4 ivory seals hung from their tags. The 5th lay on the floor beneath the rack. Elena crouched carefully. She did not touch it. The edge had been sliced, not torn. Gloves, she said. Marcus handed her a pair from his jacket pocket. Damien watched as she lifted the strip. It was cut with a narrow blade, Elena said. The person knew the seal would not survive being pulled apart, so they made it look like a replacement was used. Why? Damien asked. Because the original record says the cart never left the service lane. The replacement says it was prepared for a suite. Marcus frowned. That makes no sense. It makes perfect sense if the goal was not to move laundry. Elena turned toward the locked archive hall. The goal was to borrow the elevator. Damien's gaze followed hers. What could they take from the archive? Elena shook her head. I do not know, but they had time. Marcus keyed his radio. Get me every camera angle from the service dock to the family elevator between 11 and midnight. Elena caught his arm. Not yet. She released him. If the person used a false route, they expected you to check the obvious cameras. Do that first, and they will know we are looking in the right place. Damien studied her. You think someone inside security is involved? I think someone inside this hotel has been watching how we react to problems for a long time. Damien looked at Marcus. Pull the footage quietly, no radio traffic, no formal alert. Marcus nodded and moved away. Damien stayed. Elena returned to the rack. The bundle on the lowest shelf had a gold tag attached to an ivory seal. It was wrong enough to make her breath catch. Gold meant executive guest, ivory meant family level. The two systems were never mixed. She turned the tag over. On the back was a fresh smear of silver makeup. Not hotel-issued ink. Not grease from a service hinge. Silver like Vivian's dress. Damien saw it. His face tightened. Do not jump to conclusions, he said. Elena looked at him. I am not jumping, I am counting. His expression shifted. A small thing, but real. You were right to stop the gala, he said. No, Elena replied. I was right before I stopped it. The words landed between them. Damien lowered his eyes for one brief second. When he looked back, his voice was quieter. You were. Her phone vibrated in her pocket. A new email appeared on the screen. Bexley House Hotel, Director of Lean and Operations. Interview confirmed for 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. The job came with a larger salary, a private office, and a company that did not know her history well enough to use it against her. Damien noticed the change in her face. Bad news? No, Elena said, slipping the phone away. It may be the first good news I have had all night. Before he could ask what she meant, a warning chime sounded from the far end of the corridor. Marcus's voice came through the radio, stripped of its usual calm. Mr. Vale, the archive lock just registered an access attempt from inside the building. Nobody moved past this corridor, Marcus said. The access panel is showing a live request from the inside. Damien walked toward the archive door. Elena looked down. A gray line crossed the marble near the laundry alcove, too straight to be an accident. Marcus, turn off the hallway lights. He looked at Damien first. Do it, Damien said. Emergency strips glowed along the baseboards. Elena followed the mark to a decorative vent below the archive panel. A thread of ivory paper caught in the grate. Flashlight. Marcus handed one over. Behind the grate sat a small service badge wrapped in folded linen tape. Is that yours? Damien asked. No. Elena held it under the light. It is a deactivated badge. Someone placed it close enough to wake the panel. The system thinks a person is trying to get in. Marcus took it with gloved fingers. Can that be traced? Not from this alone. Damien studied the vent. Why trigger the alarm? To pull security upstairs, Elena said. And to make us believe the archive was the target. She looked toward the linen rack. The cart was a way to make us look in the wrong direction. Marcus's radio vibrated. The West loading dock is asking why 2 guards abandoned the midnight vendor check. Send them back, Elena said. Marcus hesitated. Damien did not. Send them back. Elena was already moving toward the service elevator. Where are you going? Damien asked. To the dock. That is not your responsibility. She stopped. Everything that goes into this hotel becomes my responsibility when nobody else notices it until it is too late. Damien held her gaze. Then tell me what you need. 2 guards at the dock. 1 guard stays with Nora Bell. No one touches the carts or manifests until I see them. And I need the camera feed on a monitor. Damien looked at Marcus. You heard her. At the loading dock, Elena ignored the drivers and walked directly to the linen return bins. Who signed these in? A young clerk lifted a trembling hand. I did, but they were already marked family level. Who told you to mark them that way? Mrs. Hart's event coordinator. She said there had been a last-minute suite change. Elena inspected the labels. The coordinator's name was printed in clean black letters, but the timestamp had been applied after the usual dock cutoff. Did you see her? No, she called from a hotel phone. Which extension? The clerk checked his pad. 714. Marcus looked up. That is the foundation office. Damien's eyes narrowed. Vivian's office. Elena checked the wheel locks. One was streaked with pale silver makeup. Then she saw a damp towel tucked behind a stack of napkins. She lifted it with 2 fingers. The towel carried a rectangular impression from a heavy envelope with a raised clasp. Something was carried inside this card, Elena said. Maybe a document, maybe a key packet. Damien's phone rang. Vivienne, he answered. Where are you? She asked. At the dock. You left your own gala for a laundry issue? It stopped being a laundry issue, Damien said. You are letting that woman make you paranoid. Damien glanced at Elena. No, I let myself dismiss her. That was different. There was a long pause. Come back upstairs, Vivienne said. The board members are asking questions. Tell them I will be there shortly. He ended the call. Marcus brought over the monitor cart. 4 camera angles filled the screen. Elena watched from 11:15 onward. At first, nothing stood out. Then the loading dock camera froze for 7:3 did not. Back that up, Elena said. Marcus rewound it. The frozen frame showed a woman in a gray catering coat beside cart 4. Her face was hidden by a service cap, but Elena knew the posture. That is Vivienne, she said. Damien's eyes remained on the screen. You can tell from that? Not from one thing. From the way she handles fabric. Elena pointed at the frame. She pulls the coat sleeve down before she touches the cart. Vivienne does that when she hides the bracelet on her wrist. The coat is too long in the arm. She borrowed it. Marcus frowned. That is still not enough. I know, but it tells us where to look next. The camera resumed. The woman pushed cart 4 toward the elevator. At the same moment, an ordinary guest in a navy suit entered through the side door. He placed a sealed cream envelope on the catering shelf and walked away. Elena leaned closer. That is not a guest. Damien's voice dropped. Who is he? I do not know, but he knows the schedule. Marcus zoomed in on the envelope. A small embossed crest appeared in one corner. Damien went very still. The Vale Family Trust. Elena checked the timestamp. 11:31, 9 minutes before she found the missing seal. The envelope came in through the dock, she said. The alarm upstairs was meant to pull you away while someone collected it. Damien reached for his phone. Call the board secretary. Elena caught his wrist. If you call now, Vivienne will know we have the route. She will destroy whatever connects that envelope to her. My family trust may already be compromised, and we still do not know who she is working with. He lowered the phone. What do you suggest? Elena looked at the frozen image. We let her believe she is ahead, and we find out who is waiting for her to finish. For a second, Elena pictured Nora alone in a service hallway, trying to decide whether a command had truly come from the hotel or whether someone had borrowed another person's authority again. She felt anger rise, not wild anger, the kind that made her mind become precise. Before anyone starts searching, Elena said, check the calls made to Nora's extension and the runner station. If she left because someone sent her, there will be a route. And if there is a route, there is a person who believes she would never be important enough for us to follow it. Damien looked at her, then at Marcus. Start there. Marcus's radio cracked again. A guard's voice came through, breathless. Mr. Vale, Nora Bell is gone. Gone where? Damien asked. The guard swallowed. Her locker is open. Her phone is on the bench. There is a note saying she was called to the west boiler room. Elena's stomach tightened. The boiler room was shut for maintenance, she said. Who gave her the note? No one knows. Then nobody searches alone, Elena said. Check the service routes in pairs. Call every emergency station from the desk, not from personal phones. And keep the dock camera running. Marcus stared at her. Damien did not. Do it exactly that way, he said. Elena stood beside the monitor, tracing the routes Nora could have taken. A runner never crossed the building without purpose. Not if she had been trained by Elena. Nora would have followed the quickest marked path. She would have passed the old laundry press room before she reached the boiler hall. Elena. Marcus's voice came through the radio. We found her. Elena closed her eyes. Is she safe? She is shaken. She is in the old press room. The door was locked from the outside, but she is not hurt. Damien's face hardened. Bring her to the security office. No, Elena said. Damien looked at her. She needs the staff clinic first, and she needs someone she knows beside her when she gives her statement. I will have a doctor meet her, and I will meet her too. He nodded. Go. Nora sat on the examination table with a blanket around her shoulders. When she saw Elena, her mouth trembled. I did not do anything wrong, she said. I know, Elena replied. She took the chair beside her. Tell me what happened. A man gave me a note. He wore a catering coat. It said you needed me in the press room because cart 4 had been miscounted. Did you see his face? No, he kept his cap low. What happened when you got there? There was an envelope on the press table. I thought it was for you. Then the door closed. Marcus placed a clear evidence bag on the counter. Inside was a cream envelope with the Vale crest. Damien read the address aloud. Board Secretary, Deliver before midnight. Elena looked at Nora. Did you touch it? No, I was scared. You did the right thing. Nora's eyes filled. I thought they would say I stole it. Elena felt Damien go still beside the door. Someone wanted Nora found with this, Elena said. Marcus examined the bag. There is no sign it was opened. Then do not open it yet, Elena said. Damien frowned. It is addressed to my board secretary. And it was planted beside an employee whose name was already forged. If we open it without witnesses, Vivian will say we changed what was inside. His eyes met hers. What do you recommend? Bring it to the board table sealed. Let the secretary log it. Let everyone see who benefits from it being opened. Damien looked at Marcus. Secure the envelope. No one handles it without Elena and the board secretary present. Nora reached for Elena's hand. Will I have to go back upstairs? No, Elena said. Not tonight. Damien stepped closer. Nora, you are not in trouble. Your pay continues. You will have transportation home when you are ready. Nora looked from him to Elena. Can Elena tell me what happens next? The question landed harder than any accusation. Damien did not answer first. Elena did. Yes, I will. Outside the clinic, Damien stood beside Elena in the narrow hall. I owe you an apology, Damien said. Elena kept her eyes on the floor tiles. You owe Nora safety. You owe your staff a system that does not make them easy to sacrifice. And you owe me the authority to fix the part of it that I understand. He was silent for a moment. Then he said, you are right. You do not have to agree with me because you are afraid I will leave. I am afraid you will leave, he said. But I am agreeing because I watched you see what 3 security teams missed. Words are easy, she said. I know. What happens when your board does not want a linen manager questioning them? Then they will learn that I asked her to. Elena shook her head. No. They need to learn that I am there because I earned the right to be. Damien's expression changed again. Recognition, not rescue. Then say that, he replied. Say it in your own words. I will make sure they stay quiet long enough to hear them. Marcus came down the hall with a tablet. Mr. Vale, the board secretary moved the trust meeting forward. 8:30. She says the envelope requires immediate action. Elena took the tablet. The meeting notice listed 6 family members, 2 trustees, the secretary, and Vivian Hart as a proposed co-signatory. Near the bottom was a small line that made Elena's pulse slow. Emergency access authorization. It was not a transfer of money. It was an attempt to take over every lock, account, and approval tied to the trust. She is not trying to take the vault, Elena said. She is trying to take the keys to everything around it. Damien read the line over her shoulder. His face went pale beneath the control. What can stop it? The original access chain, Elena said. The board needs to see that the envelope was moved through a false linen route, and we need the person who received it to explain why. Marcus tapped the tablet. Security traced the navy-suited man to a guest elevator camera. His name is Adrian Cole. He is counsel for the Hart Foundation. Vivienne's lawyer, Damien said. Not exactly, Elena replied. He is the person waiting to benefit from her signature. She pointed to the meeting notice. Find out who added him to the hotel guest list. Find out who ordered the gray catering coat. And get me every linen manifest from this week. Marcus looked toward Damien. Damien looked at Elena. You heard her, he said. Damien's phone vibrated. A message from Vivian appeared on the screen. Come to the boardroom alone. If you bring Elena, I will show them what she did. Elena read the words. Then she looked at Damien. She is going to blame me for the envelope. She will not get the chance. She will get the chance, Elena said. And I want her to. Damien's brow tightened. Why? Because people like Vivian do not lose when you silence them. They lose when they have to keep talking after the facts are on the table. At 8:27, Elena stepped into the Vale boardroom wearing the same burgundy uniform she had worn when Damien dismissed her. The cream envelope rested in a clear evidence sleeve before the board secretary. Vivian sat at Damien's right hand in silver silk, composed and luminous. Then she looked at Elena. Her smile returned. Finally, Vivian said. Now we can discuss why the linen manager has been interfering with the family trust. Vivian folded her hands over the table. Every member of the Vale family turned to look at Elena. Some looked irritated. Some looked curious. None of them looked ready to hear her. Damien remained standing. Elena Cruz is here because I asked her to be here, he said. Vivian's smile thinned. Because she found a missing piece of tape. Because she found a security breach my staff missed, Damien replied. And because no one in this room will open that envelope until she has explained how it arrived here. Vivian leaned back in her chair. A housekeeping employee is now directing family business? Elena felt the old instinct rise, the instinct to lower her eyes. To say she was only trying to help. To make herself smaller so other people could remain comfortable. Then she thought of Nora in the clinic. She thought of the forged signature. She thought of the years she had spent fixing damage before the people who caused it ever saw a problem. "No," Elena said. "I am explaining the system I manage." The board secretary looked uncertain. Vivienne gave a soft laugh. "And what exactly do you manage, Elena?" "The routes no one notices until they fail," Elena said. "The carts, the runners, the seals, the service floors. The people who make this hotel look effortless while everyone else takes credit for it." No one interrupted her. She placed the linen manifest beside the clear evidence sleeve. "There are 6 ivory seals assigned to the family level each night. They are counted at the linen cage, at the service elevator, and at the receiving point upstairs. Cart 4 had 1 missing. Nora Bell's signature was copied. The cart was marked as a sweet delivery after it had already passed the dock cutoff, and a false alarm was triggered upstairs to pull security away from the loading dock." Vivienne's eyes sharpened. "You are making a great many claims." "I am describing records," Elena replied. "Claims are what people make when they hope no one checks." Marcus placed the monitor cart at the end of the table. The board secretary watched the frozen loading dock image appear on the screen. A woman in a gray catering coat stood beside cart 4. Her face was hidden. Her posture was not. Elena pointed to the image. "The sleeve is too long. The woman keeps pulling it down before she touches the cart. That is because she borrowed the coat. The same woman wore silver makeup that was found on the wrong seal and on the cartwheel." Vivienne crossed one leg over the other. "This proves nothing." "No," Elena said. "It proves where to look." Marcus pressed play. The gray-coated woman moved the cart toward the service elevator. Then Adrian Cole entered the frame and left a cream envelope on the catering shelf. The Vale Trust crest was visible in the corner. Damien looked at Adrian, who stood near the far wall beside 2 trustees. "Did you deliver that envelope?" Adrian adjusted his cuff. "I was instructed to deliver legal paperwork to the board secretary." "By whom?" Damien asked. Adrian looked at Vivienne. That was all he needed to do. Vivienne stood. "This is ridiculous. The envelope contains an emergency access proposal prepared to protect the Vale Trust from Damien's careless management." The board secretary opened the evidence sleeve only after logging the seal number, the time, and the witnesses present. Inside was an emergency access authorization. It named Vivienne Hart as temporary co-signatory. It named Adrian Cole as outside counsel. And it gave them authority over every account, property record, and access approval attached to the Vale Family Trust. A low murmur passed through the room. Damien's uncle stared at the document. "You told us this was a routine protection measure." "It is," Vivienne said quickly. "Damien has allowed security failures throughout this hotel." "Elena did not create the security failure," Damien said. "I did." The room went silent. Damien looked at Elena before he looked at anyone else. "I dismissed her warning in public because I decided her position mattered more than her judgment. That mistake gave this plan time to move." Vivienne's face hardened. "You are humiliating yourself for her?" "No," Damien said. "I am taking responsibility for myself." Elena felt something inside her loosen. Not trust, not yet, but space. A small, clean space where trust might someday grow. Vivienne turned toward the board. "This woman has manipulated the evidence. She had access to the manifests. She could have created this entire story to gain power in this hotel." Elena nodded once. "That is the question you should ask." Vivienne blinked. "What? You should ask who had access." "That is why I asked Marcus to bring the manifests from this week." Marcus set 3 binders on the table. Elena opened the first one. Each page showed the same thing. Vivienne's event office had requested extra linen route access during the charity preparations. The requests were signed with temporary clearance codes. The codes had been approved by Adrian Cole, but the final authorization could only be issued from Damien's private office. Vivienne smiled again. "You see, Damien approved it." Elena turned to the final page. He approved 1 request. At 3 in the afternoon, the other 5 were submitted after the gala began. She placed the pages side by side. The later requests use the same approval number, but they do not use Damien's signature pattern. They use a copied authorization stamp. Adrian took a step toward the door. Marcus stepped into his path. Vivienne's control broke at last. "You have no idea what you are interfering with." Elena looked at her. "You are right. I do not understand why someone who had a place at this table would choose to make workers carry the risk of her decisions." Vivienne's voice dropped. "Because a place at this table is never enough if no one gives you power." "No," Elena said. "A place at this table is not power. Power is being trusted with the consequences of what you ask other people to do." The board secretary closed the envelope. The trustees voted to suspend the emergency authorization. Adrian Cole was removed from the meeting and held for questioning by the company's legal team. Vivian's event credentials, trust access, and proposed co-signatory status were revoked before she left the room. She looked at Damien one final time. "You think she will stay after this?" Damien did not answer. He looked at Elena instead. Elena picked up her phone. The Bexley House interview confirmation still waited on the screen. She showed it to Damien. "I have an interview at 9, she said. "I am not staying because you finally saw me." "I know," Damien said. "I am staying until the access chain is repaired, until Nora is safe, until every person who was used in this scheme has a clear record and a real voice." Damien nodded. "What do you need?" "Elena Cruz," the board secretary said quietly. "What authority would you require to do that?" Elena looked around the table, the same table that had treated her like an interruption. "I need independent access audits. I need the right to stop restricted routes when records do not match. I need direct reporting to the board on staff safety, and I need written protection for any employee who reports a breach in good faith." Damien did not hesitate. "Approved." One trustee raised a hand. "By whose authority?" Damien took his seat at the table. "By mine until the board votes." Then he looked at Elena. "And by hers after it does." The vote passed unanimously. Later, after Nora had gone home safely and the last of the gala lights had gone dark, Elena stood in the quiet ballroom with a cup of coffee in both hands. Her burgundy uniform was still wrinkled. Her feet hurt. The hotel was still imperfect. Damien approached but stopped several feet away. "Your interview is in 40 minutes, he said. "Yes. I will not ask you to cancel it." "Good. I will not promise you anything I have not earned." Elena studied him. "That is also good." He smiled, tired and real. "Then I will start with this. Thank you for telling the truth when it would have been easier to leave." Elena looked toward the doors where dawn was beginning to brighten the glass. "I may still leave," she said. Damien nodded. "You should have that choice." For the first time, Elena believed him.